How do you finance a live-in flip? I'm here with Zach Cuccinata. We're going to talk about it. And Zach, you used to be a loan officer, right?
Correct.
So I know like live-in flips can have some challenges with financing them. Is that true?
Yeah, you can. There's a lot of ways to go about it, though, so it doesn't have to be challenging at all, actually.
Yeah. I think what would be great is if we could go through some different loan options for people, because I know, getting the money is a big issue, and understanding what type of loan to go with and how much down payment they need and that kind of thing. I talked a little bit about that in preparing yourself from a financial perspective, but, go through some of the basics here.
Yeah. So I think for a lot of these deals, getting the money could be the easiest part. So there's always, most straightforward, you have conventional financing. There's also FHA, and there's even something really cool called an FHA 203K loan, where you can buy something that needs a decent amount of work, and you can finance the renovations right there in the loan.
Yeah.
So they only require, I believe it's like 3.5% down. That's really nice. So then there's always, hard money, which is kind of like a cash offer too. And then those you can finance the renovations.
So with a hard money loan, I know that it sometimes can be hard for an owner-occupier to get a hard money loan. So is that possible to do, or is it not possible?
I wouldn't say it's impossible to do. Every hard money lender is going to have different rules. So it's not like a conventional loan where they're selling to Fannie and Freddie and they're just going to have to meet a certain criteria for them. They can make up whatever rules they want. If they're okay with that, then it's good to go. You can close in your own name. You don't have to always close in an LLC.
I know we have some hard money partners we work with that are pretty good. It just depends, like you said. So hard money, for everybody that doesn't know, I mean, that's like not getting like a normal mortgage. Usually that's like how long is usually the loan term? It's like a year?
Yeah, I would say usually like a year, 6 months. And, you're usually not in it for that long. You might be in it for like 4 months, 3 months even,
What kind of interest rates do you typically see on a hard money loan?
So on a hard money loan, you're looking at around 10%. So 9, 10, 11, 12 isn't unheard of. Yeah. And you're thinking immediately, oh man, that's a high rate. But the pleasure of using this is that you don't have to qualify with your credit score or your income. It's a no-doc loan is what it would be called, non-QM. The money's in the deal, so if you basically account for the money you're going to spend on that payment, you're good to go. And if you're getting a good deal, it's going to be there.
Yeah. So hard money, I know, is a lot of times used when that house condition is not great, right? They don't need they're flipper loans, basically, right?
Exactly, yeah. So if you're going to get a hard money loan, the person isn't going to worry about the condition of the home. There can be no walls up. It could be just a complete disarray, essentially a piece of trash. So, it doesn't matter. It could be anything. Right. As long as the value after the renovations pan out to make sense for the lender, that's all they need. And they obviously need to trust in you to get it done. Yeah. So past experience is always pretty big, or maybe you have... you're a general contractor, or you do plumbing, or you're, in that any realm of that is usually helpful. First-time investors, it can be difficult sometimes, but there are tons of people out there that'll do a first-time investor.
Gotcha.
So it all started somewhere,
Yeah, I know, because you've got not only the down payment that you're worried about, but you're worried about financing renovations. I think a FHA 203K loan can help you do that. Is that possible?
Right. So you can finance the loan or the renovations with the 203K, or you could put them with the hard money. A lot of lenders will say, okay, well, how much money do you want from the renovations? So then they put that in there in the loan with that. So you're pretty much taken care of right there.
Yeah.
Another way to even help float some of this cost is getting a 0 APR card, and I've done that.
Like credit card.
Yeah, I still do it, because why would I spend my own money if I don't need to? And there's no interest on it. It doesn't cost me anything. It's free money. Why wouldn't you take advantage of free money?
So with, obviously you've got your normal loans, like conventional FHA. I know there's in Pennsylvania a PHFA loan, which is like a grant program to help people. I know there's some challenges when you're trying to just use, let's say, a conventional loan or an FHA loan when you're buying a live-in flip. Maybe talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, they're going to, FHA, if you're not using, let's say, a 203K, it's just going to be, it's a government loan, so it's going to be You have to make even tighter criteria than, let's say, conventional. And conventional,
right?
Yeah, exactly. And then condition for conventional, they're not going to want any of the walls opened up. They're not going to want, like, roof leaking through with water stains and all that stuff. That's going to be a red flag for them. Right. So there is certain things you can do to combat that. You can do like an escrow holdback in your conventional loan and stuff like that. So you essentially reserve a certain amount of money with a contractor's quote on fixing the problem or the issue for the conventional loan, let's say. Yeah. And then you have to get that done within a certain term period after close, like let's say 30 days.
Right. Yeah, and I've also worked through with people, like, they're getting a conventional loan and the house didn't meet the conventional appraisal requirements, because they're basically going to send an appraiser there. He's going to look at condition and then report on the things that he's not happy about. And I've talked to the seller, like, look, we'll make those repairs. Or I've gone back to the seller and going, you need to make those repairs. I had one situation where I did a deal in Delaware and I knew the house wasn't going to pass conventional, but the agent was delusional and he was like, oh, it's going to pass conventional. So I was like, okay. So I wrote the offer conventional. Mm-hmm. He took it. It failed conventional, and then I made him fix a bunch of stuff in the house when we were buying it as is. And I was like, hey, do you want this deal to close or not? I can't close this deal if you don't fix these things. And he did. So
I mean, that's one way to do it, and I'd say it's preferable. So that's awesome.
Yeah, I've done a lot of different things. I mean, even on like a house hack, which we talked a little bit about in this course, we talked about some house hacks with doing multifamily, and people are like, FHA, 3.5% down loan to get a multifamily property. I had a guy do that on this quad, and I mean, the condition of the quad was not that good. I mean, it had chipping paint everywhere and this and that. I don't know why, but the appraiser didn't even hit me for it. So I got kind of lucky. So you just never really know. I mean, you can always try. I mean, I did an FHA loan for a guy in college. He was going to Temple, and he bought a triplex in Wilmington, and I think he put like 3.5% down and then lived for free with the house hack. So, these FHA loans can be used in like the multifamily space. Obviously, you can do conventional in the multifamily space. Hard money's, I mean, I guess if you had a really just bad multifamily property, you could use that too. So in terms of people like qualifying for the loans and looking at their down payments, I mean, I was kind of using a rule of thumb of like 5% down and then 4% for closing costs. Would you say that's about right?
Yeah, I'd say that's pretty fair. You got your 1% for transfer tax, and you got your title costs. It's pretty much state regulated. You're looking at $2,500, so you're right around there. You got your taxes and insurance.
Yeah, they got escrow, the taxes.
Yep, exactly. So
insurance, yeah, exactly. So I kind of try to plan. So like my rule of thumb is like, hey, if you're trying to buy something for like $300, you need 9% of that. So that's like $27,000, $28,000 to close. But then also looking at the renovation costs. I mean, I think that's definitely a big thing for people doing a live and flip is trying to get those financed. So I see what you're saying. You basically like say, hey, you go hard money, you can get that financed. If you go FHA 203K, they could do that. I know like one of the things, don't you have to like use a contractor that's like on a list or something if you use an FHA 203K?
Yes, you do. So they have to be like a licensed contractor. It can't be like your buddy Rick who knows how to do plumbing and electric, and then he's just going to do it for you and you're going to pay him. So you do have a little bit of guidelines to follow with your FHA 203K loan, but you probably are going to want to work with licensed contractors anyway, so it shouldn't really be an issue. You can find someone who's going to do good work at a good price. It might just take a few quotes, so you should always definitely do your research.
Yeah, and I mean with a VA loan or a PHFA loan where you're going basically 0% down, I know those also are going to have some appraisal requirements and things like that. So it really depends on like the level of live and flip that you're doing, because if you're doing like something that's totally destroyed versus it just needs some cosmetic updates to the kitchen and bathrooms or new carpets or things like that, like I don't like the color of the carpets versus it has no floor, are two different levels of live and flip. So it kind of depends on like what level you're at with the starting product.
It definitely does. I mean, that's like kind of why you would choose each of these loans is kind of where you're at. I'd say with your finances and then the level of the properties, the other huge condition, so
yeah.
If like my first live and flip was financeable with a conventional loan, so I did that.
It was rough though.
It was pretty rough. If
you looked at it, you'd be like, I guess it works. I mean, it did have a kitchen. It was like all mismatched cabinets, ugly green, everything like yellow.
Yep.
But it had a functioning sink, it had a kitchen, it had functioning bathrooms, it had floors, no holes in the walls. It just was very dated and old.
Exactly, and just dirty, and you know. But it worked out great, and that's what I did. I used some of my own money, and I used zero APR cards to finance my renovations, and I was in there every day, essentially working on it myself to save some costs because I had some time to do my own work and research it on YouTube because I was not handy at all.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I, of course, you know, I had some help from friends. Rob coached me through a lot of it, what to do, hooking me up.
I even
with
hung
contractors.
drywall one day for like an hour.
Rob hung drywall there, and I got him some sushi, so that was good. You know, he got paid in sushi.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, you can find ways to make it happen, and it's not out of the realm for basically, I mean, anyone to, I'd say, do one of these things so you can put it together.
Awesome.
In a good
Awesome.
fashion.
Well, I think that, you know, we talked about PHFA loans in Pennsylvania, which is like a 0% down loan with a grant, VA loans. We talked about hard money. We talked about different ways you could potentially finance your renovations. We talked about conventional and FHA and some of the limitations those might have. And we talked about FHA 203K loans. So there's a lot of options, and it's all about fitting the loan to your given situation. You know, I do think you should have some capital if you decide to do a live and flip. You don't want to get stuck, you know, but there is a lot of ways to get help, I think, to make this happen. And then, yeah, you know, you can really then make your equity gain and make money. So if they got questions, I guess they could reach out to you.
Yeah, of course. Definitely.
All right, fantastic. Well, thank you guys for checking out this interview with me and Zach here. On to the next part of the course, which is, should you do it yourself or hire contractors? And how do you manage contractors? All right, see ya.